Okay, so I've just finished welding the tow hook onto this bracket here that now needs welding to the chassis. Let's just say the marshals ain't gonna miss it. It is pretty inconspicuous. Well, last weld's in. Oh my God. Next job, prop shaft restraints. So the gearbox output end is about 150 millimeter above this bottom rail here. So we're going to put a strip of metal here with some drilled holes in, another one further back. We'll actually put the restraint in once we have the prop shaft and we know exactly where it's going to be and what its movement is. But we'll at least provide some drilled holes so that we can actually attach one to it. It's just a loop of metal, we're just supplying the support for it. Shouldn't be a big job. Those are my strips for the prop shaft restraints. So where those lines are, I'm going to drill a load of holes and then weld them in. Boom, they're done. Right, so remember that rose joint I mullered for the steering column? Well, the new one's here, so that's the next job. Let's weld that bad boy in. Now I only have one major fabrication piece left before we can actually start to build this car back up again. That is mounting the fuel tank. There isn't a lot of space having looked at the pictures, so I'm going to have to partially build the rear end back up just to make sure it's sighted correctly. But the plan is to mount it from the diffuser where it's originally mounted and hard mount it to the frame somewhere. It doesn't have to be a massive big construction project, just somewhere so that, you know, if we do lose a diffuser or something like that, we're not going to lose the fuel tank as well. Do you remember how much of a struggle it was to get the fuel tank out? I've just done it in reverse and I can't get it in. It's time to call it a night. Okay, here we are at the back end of the car for this fuel tank. Now I've built up this rear corner just to make sure I've left myself enough space to actually put this fuel tank back in. It's currently mounted on the diffuser on some spacers, and I want to mount it to the chassis so that if the diffuser does get damaged or hit or knocked, it's not going to dislodge the fuel tank. If you remember, I really struggled with this big pipe here that we've got on the fuel tank, and I couldn't get it off, so I left a load of penetrating fluid in it and hoped it would release itself, and thankfully it has. It literally just twisted off earlier, so there we go. So it means we can replace this pipe. Now, a lot of people talk about needing a splash bowl. This doesn't have a splash bowl. In the regulations, it's a bit vague about whether you actually need one. It says something like if it's in the boot of a car, you need one so it goes outside. So I think I could argue the toss on the splash bowl. I'm going to show you the regulation in a moment. But if we do have one, it's better because scrutineers want to see one. But I don't know if I can get one in the space, so let's have a look and I'll show you. Right, so you can see those 4 spacers there where the fuel tank sit originally. Yeah, they're going to have to go, but it does give me an idea of where it should locate. The fuel tank is very close to that damp on the left hand side and will be very close to the differential at the rear as well. Obviously I don't want to put the differential in and test fit it. I want to just try and make sure I get it in the right space without doing all that extra work. But I've got 2 options basically. I can put the fuel tank, so that's where the original tank location was. And I can try and put a little bit of a spout and a splash bowl there. It may be better the other way round, but yeah, actually I think it might be better in the original location. So I need to try and source at least a cap for it, or a splash bowl that will attach to it with a spout that's going to go above the main chassis member at the rear. The other thing I've got to be mindful of is that lower A-arm there as well, that approximately passes through those points there. So what I've decided to do is to basically put 2 steel prongs, one here, and strap the tank to them. I think that's going to be the most simple solution. it gives me flexibility to move the tank where I want it, you know, within reasonable margins. So yeah, two prongs there, and then maybe another one sticking out connected to this prong here, just so I can do a lateral strap as well. Okay, so I've created these cantilever brackets to attach to the rear of the chassis so I can hang the fuel tank off it. I've also created another bracket so that the fuel tank can be mounted rearwards as well, so it can't move fore and aft and left and right. So the next thing I need to do is remove this aluminium panel so I can get access to weld, and then strip some of the paint off this frame and then weld these on, and then we should be done. So that is it. We've got these two sort of cantilever type beams in here, so we can wrap a strap around it this way. And then I've also got an insert in here so we can wrap a strap around the fuel tank this way. So that's it. The fuel tanks can be located. It can be moved around a little bit as need be with the straps as well. So it gives us a bit of flexibility just in case we want to move it away from the differential or away from this rear suspension unit. And that actually marks the end of this fabrication period and the beginning of the build period. The next thing I need to do is take off all these aluminium bits that we've got on. There's only a couple left on there. And I need to rub down the painted sections, rub down the bare metal sections, and apply a coat of paint, which is probably going to happen over this weekend, over a couple of days. I've got a number of things I still need to address, and a number of things that are probably going to appear as we go and put this thing together, but it should just be building the car. The rear end should just go together. We still need to order the prop shaft. The front end we've built and put together a couple of times and taken apart a couple of times. So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen now, and I'm really looking forward to getting to drive it. But yeah, we're still a way away. But yeah, it's been hard work, and there's still more hard work to go.